You're listening to episode 151 of the Christian Travelers Network. Today's topic is Airport Ministry with Bishop Hayes. Hi, my name is Sarah, and I have a background in theology and a love for travel. Having visited 9 different countries and served in 5 congregations, I wanted to create an environment that discusses and encourages the overlap of my 2 favorite things, the Lord and travel. And if you have a passion for these things, or wanting to learn how God is such an integral part of our daily adventures, then you've come to the right place. Today's topic is Airport Ministry with Bishop Hayes. Hi, Christian travelers. I'm so glad you are here. We have an amazing guest, Bishop Hayes, and he's going to be talking about the inside scoop of airport ministry as he actually works at an Interfaith Chaplaincy inside of the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. But before we dive into that, I want to point you once again to our website, christiantravelers.net. There you'll find other faith and travel resources, links to other podcast episodes, and of course, we have the exciting platform coming soon where you can connect with other Christians from around the world, share your travel stories, and plan trips together. We're so excited to see that in action. So sign up for our email list and you can get the latest details. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on in. Bishop Hayes serves as a senior chaplain at Dallas-Fort Worth Interfaith Chaplaincy, which is the 3rd busiest airport in the world. He serves in the position for over 25 years now and is the only African American serving as the senior chaplain at any airport in the world. Chaplain Hayes is a 20-year veteran of the United States Air Force, a consecrated bishop, and serves as the presiding bishop of Gift Ministries in Fort Worth, Texas. He's happily married to the former Cheryl Smith and has 3 children and 5 grandchildren. Bishop Hayes is very passionate about serving and ministering at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, a ministry of presence. Hi, Bishop. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good, good. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with DFW?
Well, as you stated earlier, I'm retired from the United States Air Force and I served as a contract chaplain in the military. And when I retired from the military, the chaplain at DFW was my former chaplain in the Air Force.
Mm.
So he invited me to come out and volunteer. And I fell in love with the ministry and in love with the people here. And then God blessed me 5 years later to be chosen as a senior chaplain. So it was a real connection from another chaplain that got me connected to the ministry.
That's really cool. Um, what got you interested in the Air Force and I guess just airport flying in general?
Well, I grew up in a small town in South Carolina, and wasn't much too many opportunities left there after you graduated high school if you didn't go to college. Planned to go to college, but was not able to go because of financial difficulties. But so I joined the military,
Mm.
joined the Air Force, and had not planned to stay in 20 years, but time went by so fast. I enjoyed the camaraderie. Again, I wasn't a officer in the military. I was enlisted, but
Mm.
allowed me to be a contract chaplain for the chapel services, and that's how I got more involved in chaplaincy and ministry, and like I said, it all tied into me getting to be the airport chaplain at DFW.
That's really cool how God kind of lined up all those things for you to be where you're at now.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So can you share a little bit about the history of airport ministry? Um, I feel like that's something that not a lot of people talk about very often.
The DFW airport was the airport was opened up in 1973. And it was already in the mindset of the airport fathers, if you will,
Mhm.
to have a chaplaincy in the airport. Imagine having 60, 70,000 people who work here, uh,
Mm.
so many million, 40, 50 million flying through on a daily basis. It's like having a small city with no church.
Yeah.
So the chaplaincy is the church of the airport. We like a community. We have our own jail cell. have our own post office. So we like a small city, have our own zip code. So so the chaplaincy is just like being a part of the church in the airport itself. And it's just been a great time. It was established in 1977, 501c3, and we've had several senior chaplains that served. But it's been a ongoing ministry and a very powerful one here at DFW.
That's awesome. What are some of the things that you do or the services that you offer with your ministry?
Well, as a chaplain, we provide pastoral care. Uh, like I said, we are the pastors of the airport. Also, we also do weddings. We do
Oh,
memorial services. Yes, I've even did one baby dedication here. So, but our job is to be a presence of ministry to those folks that are here. I know that, and like I said, it's a big program. I mean, one of the largest in the world. Several years ago, I was having a small congregation at my church. It was very small after I left the military,
mhm.
and I was complaining to God, "Well, my church is so small," and God spoke to me and said, "Well, you got the biggest church in Dallas. You got 60,000 members of your church." Okay, God, I understand. So
Oh, that's funny. Um, that and really cool that you get to do that. Do you offer worship services as well?
yes, the worship services, interfaith services. We have Christian, we have Islamic services, we have Anglican churches and Catholic. So really, just a entourage of services that we have. They meet the needs of the people.
Mhm,
Special occasions, we have prayer services, we have Easter services, Good Friday services. The Muslim here, they do a Juma prayer every Friday. So God has blessed us to have a ministry that reaches out to everybody, even though you may not be on the same page religiously, theologically. Our
mhm.
job is to minister to people and to help them to navigate through DFW.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Do you find that a lot of people know about your ministry or the ministry in other airports, or is that kind of one of those tucked away secrets?
Well, we don't want to be a secret.
Yeah.
But many times people don't, they, when they hear of a chaplaincy at the airport, they say, what you need a chaplaincy for?
Mhm,
And as I began to explain to them why we need a chaplaincy, well, first of all, all the people that are here, and most folks, this is their home away from home.
mm,
But yeah, we try to get the word out. We try to advertise as much as possible. We a lot of churches, we try to get involved with churches. We try to join an organization of churches and let them know we're here from the
mhm,
bigger churches and larger churches. And also, it is airports around the world. So I belong to an association called the International Aviation Civil uh, Airport Chaplain. So it
mm.
is a big organization. Our president is European. He's in Europe right now, and we travel every year to different airports
Oh,
and see what they have to offer, and just get to see what the environment is because it's always different in different areas.
yeah.
But yeah, so we are a part of a bigger picture, the international. IACAC is the acronym for that, and we just travel. And matter of fact, this year we'll be in London at,
Oh,
at Heathrow airport.
yeah.
So yeah, it's great.
That's really cool. Do you know how many chaplains there are in IACC?
Well, the numbers keep changing but in Europe, there's several chaplaincies all around the world. I mean, I've been in Budapest and Switzerland and all those airports around in Europe. In the United States, we have about I guess it's 10 chaplaincies in the United States. Us and Houston and New York and Washington and Phoenix and a few other places. But off the top of my head, how many we got? I don't know, but it's probably 30 or 40.
Oh, wow. That's
Mm.
really cool and amazing that travelers get to have that experience, and that you guys get to minister to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What is one thing that you wish people know about airport ministry?
I wish they knew the importance of the airport chaplaincy.
Mhm,
We are not just ministering just to people that in the airport, facility, but because it's an international ministry. I mean, you got travelers from around the world. all
Yeah.
around the world. And so this goes takes me back to what Matthew says in 28 by going into all nations and preach the gospel. So we reach all nations here, all nations, all creeds, all colors, all different religious denominations. And I know sometime being a I found out when I first came to Chaplain, I asked one question. I asked the question to the chairman, what is because interfaith? I said, what is interfaith?
Hmm.
Interfaith means I have to compromise who I am as a Christian. I don't want a job. So interfaith basically means my job is to interface people with their religious background. If I see a Jew person that needs to speak with a rabbi, I can grab him a rabbi. I can grab a imam for Muslim. I can grab a Catholic priest. So my interface means I'm making people sure people get their needs met wherever they feel comfortable at.
Hmm.
And then I feel like that as a chaplain in an interfaith ministry, you got to be able to communicate with people. We
Hmm.
are. I have chaplains that are Muslim on my chaplaincy board, and sometimes we talk about religious belief, but not a whole lot. What we try to do is to see how much of our likes of that we have, not dislikes, or how much things that we can identify on, And
Yeah.
the main thing here is helping people. Doesn't matter what where they come from, what background. Our job is to meet the needs of people wherever they are.
Yeah. Absolutely. Kind of on the other end of things, what has been one of the biggest blessings or maybe a memorable experience serving in this role?
Well, one of the most memorable experience, I met a lady who worked at the Vatican several years ago, or many years ago, and I just spoke to her and said, I would love to have an artist with the Pope. Just,
Yeah.
they can chitter chat, if you will. And so about 10 years later, I get a letter from her saying that you got an audience to meet Pope Benedict
Oh.
in in June 2013. I said, what? So I was excited about that because I'm not Catholic, but just to be able to be honored to go to Rome and meet the Pope was quite an honor. Well, Pope Benedict resigned in February of that same year. So I said, well, there goes my trip to the Vatican. Then in April, I got a call from the adjutant general in Rome. Said Bishop D.D. Hayes, you still on to come to see the Pope, but you'll be seeing Pope Francis. Pope
Oh.
Francis just got in the office, and it was amazing. When I went to Rome, I had some folks with me, my wife and a few other folks, and we had a chance to go to St. Peter's Square and see other mass of people. And I had some Catholic friends of mine gave me some ornaments to be blessed by the Pope. So I took it to the Pope, face to face order. I took it to the Pope, and instead of him blessing it, he put it back in my hand, put his hand over my hand, and we prayed together. It
Mm.
was an awesome time, sir. One of the highlights of my ministry. And the second highlight was when I had a chance to do the travels of Paul, the apostle.
Mm.
And I went to Greece and 7 cities that Paul went for missionary journeys. I was able to go to all of those.
Oh.
Philippi, Ephesus, and it was just amazing. Those are 2 highlights of my ministry. Just being a part of something grand like that was great.
That's amazing. And I'm guessing meeting so many travelers in an airport, you get to hear a lot of amazing stories, but also get to share yours quite frequently
Yes,
too.
definitely. And that's the main thing is the people, because we are this is our logo for Chapel. So it's pretty noticeable. We got a wing, and then we got a guy kneeling in prayer. So it gives us a chance to minister to a lot of people. And people just sometimes I just got a lady just came off a while ago. She's trying to get a ride to a military base. And so we get called for everything. But the main basis of what we do here, besides just ministering and doing religious organization, we are also a part of the emergency management team here.
Mm.
Case of a crash or a trauma or some kind of traumatic event. Most of my child have been trained in critical care. We are part of the airport emergency management team. So anytime something comes up, they need a chaplain there. And it's just amazing to be a part of something big than yourself. And we're a vital part of DFW Airport. So that's what I like about it. The executive team really look up to us. I pray for every board meeting every month with all the
Mm.
mayors of Fort Worth and Dallas and all the other big wigs, if you say. But we have a chance to minister in so many different ways.
Mm. Yeah. That's awesome because not only do you get to connect with the travelers on their way, but then, as you said, those the staff and the community that is there every single day. So that's cool.
And I think it's important because we meet pastors. I was met a lady from India one day, and she says to me, "Oh, you the chaplain?" She said, "Oh, we can't talk. We don't have nothing to talk about." I said, "Well, I differ with you." She said, We don't have nothing like." So I said, "Let me ask you three questions. The first question I'm going to ask you is, when you guys have a baby, how do you guys respond? Oh, we're happy. We have a party. I said, we do too. So fine. Number two, when somebody died in your family, how do you guys? Oh, we're sad. We're sorrowful. I said, we do too. And third, I say, what color is your blood? She said, red. I said, mine red too. So I was able to show her we have more things in common than we have not in common. So our job is to tie people in, even though it's not all about uh, preaching. God gonna allow you to bring the message, but sometimes the message is in your action, and you're showing your love as Jesus did for one another. We show love to everybody he came in contact with. So that's our first step, is showing love. Then second message, we try to make sure to find out where they are religiously or spiritually, and then we try to meet that need.
Yeah. Yeah. That brings up actually a interesting thought. A lot of these travelers are probably the people going through your airport more frequently, and they have the opportunity to witness and talk to people. But sometimes I think we also get hung up on the differences more than the commonalities. What advice would you have for a traveler to share their faith or just open up some of those conversations with others?
I found out that if we just be sensitive to people needs, at the airport, it's not about my needs. It's not about what I want. I mean, if you're evangelist, I got some people who are very evangelical, which is fine. I got nothing wrong with that. But you trying to preach to somebody who's hurting, they're not gonna hear you. You got to
Mm,
meet that need first, where they are. Meet that need where they are, and then they can hear you. Now, as a chaplain, they know we are spiritual advisors, so that don't take away from who we are. Why would they call us on the scene if they didn't want our services? So we make sure we just use wisdom. But when it comes to dealing with people, I had a Jewish couple come through one day, and their son just committed suicide.
mm,
And well, I know that the Jews don't believe in Jesus the Messiah. They God the Father. So what I did was I prayed for them and held their hand until they got ready to leave to go back to home. Go back home. So my job was meeting that need. So
mm.
the needs of people outweighs the needs of what we need to say. If we let God use us in our actions speak more than our words.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Bishop Hayes, as we're nearing the end of our time, what other advice or tips would you like to share with our audience today?
I like to say that the airport ministry is very valuable. Not only, like I said, to the airport. Many things happen around the world have been centered around the airport chaplains. You probably don't. And several years ago, they had a church shooting,
Mm,
Wedgewood Baptist Church in Fort Worth, Texas. And I just come on with senior chaplain and had no idea I'd be involved because the parents of one of the parishioners that got killed was in England. So they come to my airport. So I ministered to those folks and ministered their needs. Young man got killed, fell off a bridge, a young student in, I think it was over in Mexico. And well, I had to deal with the parent. So sometimes major situations in the world are affected. When they had the shooting in Columbine in Colorado, I had a
mm,
chaplain that was at the airport that night. Folks that were here had to go back home. He got on the plane and prayed for all the folks going back to Colorado. So many, Hurricane Katrina, my chaplain was sent to Louisiana to help out. So our chaplaincy is just not based on what we do in this airport ministry. We are worldwide, international ministry. And because of that, I want people to understand that it's very important. We try to make sure we get support that we need, make sure also that people understand who we are, and we get calls all the time. Some folks down planes. We got international planes. We got to go on and meet there. One of the tough type things I have. Of course, you mentioned me earlier. my highlight. My tough thing is dealing with family who had a loss,
Mm.
and that's really tough. When you had a flight attendant, she was coming home because her dad had died, and of course we knew that. But on the way coming from overseas, her 18-year-old son got killed in a motorcycle accident. So not only had to deliver to her about her dad, comfort about her dad, we had to deliver to her about her son dying. So those are some of the low times that it's it's hard for them because we're here to help them. But sometimes it takes a toll on us because we have to be the one to comfort that person and show them love and show them the love of Jesus and not break down ourselves. It's just like a doctor doing an operation and you may be close to that person, but you got to do your job. So we do our job and we love it. But that's all for folks to know. We are a ministry that cares for people. Uh, we don't get caught up in politics and all the stuff that goes on, the different, you know, different groups going around. We try to be very, you know, just not get involved in none of that stuff. Objective and not subjective. So that's what we try to do.
Yes, yes, and we thank you for that. And listeners, I wanted to encourage you to be praying for Bishop Hayes and the other chaplains because, as he said, it is many joys, but they have some hard days too, and they have such an important ministry. So, yeah.
So as I close, I'd like to say that I'm also a presiding bishop of Gift Ministries in Fort Worth. It's a non-denominational organization where we partnership with other churches. I'm a trainer of pastors and teachers. So my job is not to try to pastor that guy's church. My job is to impart to the pastor. So I have about 9 churches that I oversee, some in the United States, and got 1 or 2 overseas in England. So I give church the headquarters in Fort Worth, Texas. And I just love it because I love what I do. I love being able to help people to reach their goal when it comes to ministry and pastoral work and obligations that we got to give us to do is that. And I train the chaplain, even the chaplain, to come to the DFW airport. I tell them before you even start on your journey, find your place to pray, meditate, see what God has to offer to you that day. Don't just run out there and just willy nilly. Get prepared for what you get ready to do because you don't know what you're gonna face out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Wrapping up, and I know you shared a big story already, but one of the questions I always ask our guests is what has been the biggest God moment in all of your travels? Did you have another one that you wanted to add to that?
Uh, I think my biggest God moment was to me right now is when I was installed as a consecrated bishop in 2003, and it was a blessing because the CEO of the airport and the vice CEO of the airport came to my ordination consecration.
Wow.
And I tell you, it's been a great blessing to me. One of the highlights of my ministry. I just thank God for that. So and that gives me a lot more latitude that I can travel a little more and train other pastors and assist them in their ministry. So I pastor a church, but also I pastor 2 churches. I pastor the airport and I pastor my ministry. So yeah, I love it. I love every minute of it. And God has blessed me. I got a son who's preaching now, so he's going to kind of do more in the church now, and I'm doing more travel as the Episcopal bishop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really cool. And thank you for sharing. And so exciting that your son's going to get to join you in ministry as well.
yes, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
But for folks that want to reach out to us, I mean, it's they can go to our website, DFW Airport Chapel.org, DFW Airport Chapel.org, or they can email me. My email address, I can get my information. It's ddhayes@dfwairport.com. And we're also on Facebook. So please look at all the social media outlets we have and tie into us and help us if you can to be a blessing to those that can't help themselves.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Bishop Hayes, for being on today. We've really enjoyed hearing from you.
And I'm glad we was able to connect because we had some issues earlier.
Well, Christian travelers, thank you so much for listening to today's podcast and hearing the stories from Bishop Hayes. I hope they have inspired you to consider visiting an airport chapel. If not in Dallas Fort Worth, there are many actually around the world. And if you go back to episode 144, you can listen to the ones in the United States, and episode 146 lists some of them around the world. So we encourage you to check that out. And if you're looking for a way to connect with other Christian travelers around the world, I encourage you to go to our website, ChristianTravelers.net. There you can find other faith and travel resources, links to all of our social media platforms. And if you sign up for an email list, you will be one of the first people to get the inside scoop when our platform officially goes live. We are so excited that our developer has been able to get back into the swing of things. He had some things happening with COVID. He's safe and all well. He was also close to some of the Russian and Ukraine fighting. While he wasn't in one of those countries, he did have to relocate. So we're just really blessed that he's continuing to work on those things. And we will let you know as soon as the platform is fully live. But without further ado, I want to once again thank you for listening, hitting that subscribe button, leaving a review, and sharing this episode with a friend because who knows what they might take away or how they may benefit from it. Your ongoing support is very appreciated. And until next time, safe travels and God bless.